you see off to the right over there is the Tyner branch. It's spelled Tyner, Tyner. That railroad line was built originally in 1942 by the Nashville, Chattanooga, and St. Louis Railway to connect the Western and Atlantic Railroad main line with the Volunteer Army Ammunition Plant here in Chattanooga, where they manufactured TNT from World War II through the early days of Desert Storm. Today, the Volunteer site is now the home of the Enterprise South Industrial Park and the Volkswagen Assembly Plant here in Chattanooga, where they manufacture the Atlas SUV and the ID4 electric car. A little bit of irony that a site once used to make material to fight the German army is now the home of a German car plant. Our next bridge is going to be over the Western and Atlantic Railroad. The Western and Atlantic was the very first railroad completed into the city of Chattanooga, being completed in May of 1850. It was built by the state of Georgia, operated by the state of Georgia, and to this day it is still owned by the state of Georgia. So yes, you did hear me right. Georgia does own land in Tennessee, aside of course from Neyland Stadium. Go Dogs! And when the Western and Atlantic Railroad was initially chartered in 1836 by the Georgia General Assembly, it was not going to be permitted to even cross the Tennessee state line into Chattanooga because of it being the Georgia State Railroad. Tennessee didn't like the idea of their neighbor to the south building a railroad across their lines. Can't say I really blame them. I wouldn't want my neighbor building a railroad across my backyard either. But that same gentleman I mentioned earlier, James Whiteside, using his power as a Tennessee state legislator, lobbied for permission for that railroad to cross the state line into downtown Chattanooga, where they built a small yard and station. Now today, though the Western and Atlantic is still Georgia state property, it is operated by CSX Transportation under a lease from the state as their Atlanta to Chattanooga main line, and it is dispatched from their headquarters in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, the Western and Atlantic Railroad was a vital Confederate supply artery during the American Civil War, connecting Atlanta with Chattanooga. Because of that, it was a target on more than one occasion by Union saboteurs. The most successful attempt was General Sherman on his Atlanta campaign, in which he just destroyed everything in his path. But the most famous attempt on that railroad took place in April of 1862 and is known as the Andrews Railroad Raid. 24 Union spies under the command of a civilian by the name of James Andrews began working their way south out of Shelbyville, Tennessee on April 7th of 1862 with plans to destroy that railroad and isolate Chattanooga so it could be captured by Union forces. Along their way south, two men had to drop out and join Confederate units near Jasper, Tennessee, as they were suspected of being Union spies. Then on the morning of their planned raid, April 12th, two other men